Previously on Drone of History. One day, Canada.
It's 1776 and the 13 colonies were tired of being simps for England. Great Britain has recognized us as a free and independent nation, something that they will never forget or ever try to question. So between the aiding of Indians, the impressment of men, and the orders in council, America kinda wanted to go to war with England. We could grab Canada. I'm coming, baby! Let's go to war! England repealed the orders in council. Maybe this war wouldn't be needed after all. Fuck you. Let's do this. Hey Dolly, we just declared war on Britain.
Wow, that's exciting. Wait a minute. You and what army?
The U.S. Army.
We have an army?
No, they really didn't. At the start of the war, the United States had an army of about 7,000 men. That's it. See, early America didn't really like the idea of a standing peacetime army. It sounded very kingish to them. If things did pop off, that's what militias were for, to defend and keep the peace if need be. It's right there in the Second Amendment. I feel like people might focus on the second part too much. Maybe I should underline the first part.
Nah, it's crystal clear and can in no way be misinterpreted.
America's Navy wasn't in much better shape either. Whereas Daddy of the Ocean Britain had 100 ships of the line and 200 frigates, the United States had, 0 ships of the line and 7 frigates. They also had a handful of brigs, a few schooners, and a couple of fanoodles. Luckily, Napoleon was still being the little pain in Europe's big butt, so the Americans wouldn't have to face the full might of the British military yet. Still, organizing any American war effort was gonna be difficult. Communication was slow. Dial-up internet slow.
You've got mail.
At the isolated yet strategically valuable American Fort Mackinac, Commanding Officer Lieutenant Porter Hanks only found out about the war when... Wake up! Hello, Americans, do you give up?
Oh, give up? What?
Oh, fart. British forces in the war might have been fewer, but they were good. Aided by Canadian militias, the British regulars were well-trained and their officers battle-tested. Of note was Major General Isaac Brock, who was like every positive trait of Disney princes Frankensteined into one person. He was so likable that men wanted to be him, women wanted to be with him, grandmas wanted to feed him, manja manja, and artists wanted to draw him. And he needed to be because he had the task of getting Tecumseh and his Confederacy to ally with the British once again.
Why should we? So you can abandon us again like you did after the War for Independence? Why should I trust you? Because like you, I've been a warrior my entire life and give you my word as such. Let's play a game, all right? On the count of 3, name your biggest threat here in North America. Don't even think about it. 1, 2, 3. United States. Relative killed by the Americans during the Revolution? Older brother. If you were a chick, who's the one guy you would sleep with? John Stamos. What? Did we just become best friends? Yup. You wanna go kick some American butt? Yup.
The strategy of the British was basically to defend Canada. Good strategy considering the Americans planned a 3-point invasion of their northern neighbor. But first, an American officer was sent to test out the theory that Canadians would welcome the Americans as liberators with open arms. My Canadian brothers, we, the United States, are here to free you from the tyranny of Great Britain. Yeah, I guess we're gonna have to go with that invasion plan. First, they would invade Canada from Detroit in August. Outside Fort Detroit, Brock, having few British soldiers, knew he was outnumbered. To fix this, Brock dressed the militia up like lobsterbacks to make them seem more intimidating. He also learned that the American General William Hull was deathly afraid of Indians. So he had Tecumseh march his men in front of the fort 3 times to make them look more numerous. It had the desired effect. Hull surrendered the fort and his men shortly after. In November, 6,000 American soldiers and militiamen were tasked with taking Montreal. They were led by Major General Henry Dearborn, former Revolutionary War hero and current Mrs. Doubtfire doppelganger. Hello! The invasion failed when half the troops refused to invade, and the half that did ended up in a fierce battle with each other. The most noteworthy of the 3-point invasion happened 1 month earlier when the Americans, led by General Stephen von Rensselaer, tried to cross the Niagara River into Upper Canada. The Americans were briefly able to take Queenstown Heights before being pinned down by First Nation warriors and British reinforcements. As well as this being the first real contest of the war, the Battle of Queenstown is remembered for one heroically tragic loss. After the Americans had gained control of a cannon overlooking the escarpment, Brock personally led a daring charge to get it back.
All right, chums, let's do this. Isaac!
Brother, are you all right? What's wrong?
I felt a great disturbance in the force, as if one beautiful voice suddenly cried out in terror and was suddenly silenced. I fear something terrible has happened.
Despite repelling the first real attempt at invading Canada, Britain had lost one of its best officers, and Tecumseh had lost his best ally. The 1812 invasion of Canada turned out to be a wet fart, so you can imagine how bad the war at sea was going. And you would be wrong. The Americans finally scored a W when the USS Constitution whooped the derriere of the HMS Guerriere and earned itself the nickname Old Ironsides after British cannonballs bounced off of it. How was this possible?
First mate, activate the secret weapon!
Still, the first year of the war had been generally terrible for the Americans, and President Madison looked forward to improvements in 1813. Secretary of War Armstrong, I have to say, I feel good. It's a new year, a new war. Anything new to report?
Yeah, we just got massacred at River Raisin.
Oh, fart. Out west, William Henry Harrison, on a mission to retake Detroit, dug in at the newly built Fort Meigs. Tecumseh and Isaac Brock's replacement, Henry Proctor, laid siege to the fort. But to Tecumseh, the whole thing felt weird.
So what do we do now?
We wait.
We just wait? We don't attack?
Old chap, you have much to learn about modern warfare. Now, the entire run of BBC's Dribbleshins of Derbyshire just came out on Netflix, so you know where to find me.
2 weeks later.
Well, that's done. Time to back it in, chaps.
Wait, you're just leaving?
Yes, well, they're not giving up, and I'm out of crisps. Let's go, gentlemen.
Oh, Isaac, I could really use you now.
Back in the Atlantic, things weren't going well for the Americans. You had a massive blockade, and on June 1st, the USS Chesapeake had the cojones to engage the HMS Shannon. Mortally wounded and at death's door, the Chesapeake's captain, James Lawrence, told his crew,
"Don't give up the ship."
And then his men immediately gave up the ship. But this message was not lost on Captain Oliver Hazard Perry. Perry was tasked with taking Lake Erie, the key to successfully invading Canada. So he built a fleet on the lake and went up against the Brits in his flagship, the USS Lawrence.
Don't give up the ship, boys!
Captain?
I meant that ship, the Niagara! Don't give up that ship! Let's get out of here.
Perry and his ships had defeated the British fleet, gained control of the lake, and opened the door to an invasion of Canada. This prompted British General Proctor to abandon Detroit.
Where are you going?
Back to Canada. We have to protect our land.
What about my land? I thought we were allies.
I know, right? An Englishman abandoning his Indian allies could knock me over with a feather.
Brothers, we will run no more. We take a stand here together. Sing your death song and die like a hero going home. Isaac?
Tecumseh, they finally get you?
Yeah, your people abandoned us again.
I had a feeling.
Who's that guy?
I don't know. Apparently it's reference humor and some people find it funny. With the death of Tecumseh, individual tribes were forced to sign peace agreements, and the widespread destruction of Indian cultures at the hands of American expansionism would truly begin. By the fall of 1813, America was finally ready to give invading Canada another shot, again trying to invade Lower Canada with the primary objective of taking Montreal. This invasion failed yet again, partially because 1,000 New York militiamen refused to actually cross the border, partially because the American officers in charge, Hampton and Wilkinsons, hated each other on a Real Housewives level, but mostly because of French-Canadian Lieutenant Colonel Charles de Salaberry and his defensive force consisting completely of Canadians, militiamen, Voltigeurs, Indians, the kids in the hall, all Canadian. Now, invading Upper Canada had gone a lot better in 1813. In fact, American forces were able to take York, then capital of Upper Canada, which they burned to the ground. There's those weird shadows again. And by December, they took Newark, the former capital of Upper Canada, and burned that to the ground too. Again, with these 4 shadows. And to top it all off, Madison received word on December 30th that the British were open to peace negotiations. Dolly, I have to say that the war is finally turning in our favor, provided circumstances don't change in a sudden and drastic way. And then circumstances changed in a sudden and drastic way. By April of 1814, Napoleon had abdicated the throne, freeing Britain to attend to other matters.
Sometimes I wish I could boldly go where no man's gone before, but I'll probably stay here in America. What are you thinking about? Watching another Drawing of History video by clicking over here, definitely subscribing, maybe even supporting it on Patreon. Did you ever find Bugs Bunny attractive when he put on a dress and played Girl Bunny? No. No, neither did I. I was just asking.